Hey guys, Czar here. I hope all is well and trust you're having a great weekend. I just wanted to take a few minutes here and talk a little bit about mastering zone reversals. Zone reversal trades is one of the three main setups that are part of the Razor's Edge day trading model. I trade zone breaks, zone reversals, and trend continuation trades. So today I want to talk a little bit about zone reversals. I've been getting quite a few questions on them, and I'm happy to spend a few minutes here going over some of the basics at the very least. So what exactly are zone reversal trades? Well, zone reversals, as the name would suggest, is a setup where price reverses after tapping a zone, hence the name zone reversal. In this case, this is a case of a long trade. Price has drifted all the way down and tapped a key support zone on the 30-minute chart and then rallied up, and this trade was taking along with the anticipation that this would go back higher. Let me show you a few and then we'll come back and talk about it in more detail. Here again, price dropped all the way down, tapped a support zone, broke above, and we took the trade. Again, price drove down, rallied up, took the trade. Price driving down, mostly tapped a support zone, broke above, rallied higher, and there is a nice 2R win as well. Same thing, drifting down all morning long here in the New York session, tapping a zone, actually breaking a little bit below and then breaking back up. And here are many examples: down, taking the trade back up. Now here's some shorts, right? Rallying up and then breaking below, taking the short trade reversal, rallying into a zone, reversing down, rallying up into a zone, reversing down. You see that? Rallying up into a zone, reversing down. This one's a little interesting. We'll get to it in a moment. Rallying up very, very slowly, grinding, and then coming back down. Let's go right back to the beginning, shall we? And talk about this in more detail. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for a key zone to be tapped. These are zones that I've marked out pre-market and during the market as more and more price action is printed. And zones are something that need to be revised and refreshed throughout the trading session. And we have more information to work with. So in this case, prices had been drifting all the way down all during the morning. This is the open of the New York session here at 9:30. A little bit of indecision here for the first hour and a half, and then dropped all of a sudden, possibly on news, I can't remember this trade, and then dropped all the way down, and then finally tapped the zone, put in a rejection style candle, opposite color candle, break above. Now I didn't take this right away because this was during the twilight zone. In other words, I could have entered this on the break above this candle. This is more of a doji style, almost an indecision style candle, but it was also in the twilight zone. I prefer to wait until at least 1 o'clock when volume comes back into the market, and so I chose to take this right at or above the prior candle just to be certain that prices really did want to go higher. Entered the trade. This was a 2R winner, as you can see. So the 1R trader made full profits, 1.5R, and also the 2R all or nothing trader made full profits on this trade. The next one pushed all the way down here. This is the opening 30-minute candle on the New York session. Did nothing after that for a couple of candles. This is an indecision. I totally ignore this candle because it is a doji, but notice how it tapped a zone and then rejected. Tried it again, tapped it, and actually pierced it a little bit more, rejected again. This is starting to feel very firm and bullish. Then when we had more of a retracement and then a flip back up, a break above, took the entry and had to wait a little bit. I had to sit through a little bit of pain here. That's that wick you see here, right? This piece here. And then eventually hit the extreme target of 2R for a full winner. Next example is, again, this was an opening candle, big bearish opening candle on New York, slowly rallied up for several 30-minute candles and then dropped right during lunch. Actually, I would have been out having a workout during the twilight zone, so missed all of this, and that's fine. And then coming back, a opposite color candle is put in here, so a bullish candle, having gained some liquidity, if you like. I don't mind those terms. And then a break above to take this trade. Now, I actually took this one a little bit later again. This could have been taken above this candle. I decided to wait again for more of a confirmation, and it worked out obviously exceptionally well. Another example. This one's a little bit different. Prices all the way through the New York session here until lunchtime, tapped near a zone. Remember, zones are areas. They're not precise points where I happen to place my marker. This is called a hammer candle, right? It's a long shadow or bottom wick, small upper body. This is a textbook or a typical reversal candle, especially if you get a break above. And so as after the twilight zone at around 1 o'clock, you can see it here, 110, 105 on the 1 minute chart here. I waited for volume to come back in, took it above this piece here, which also happens to be the break above the candle for a full 2-hour profit. Zone reversal, right? Clear as day. How about this one? Drifting bearish bars all the way through, or candles all the way through the New York session. Very, very consistent bearish movement. Then again, breaking below after tapping a zone, breaking below, getting some liquidity if you like, and then break above. Just the textbook setup. So waited for an opposite color candle and then a break above that candle, and it worked out extremely well. How about this one? Again, meandering for the first couple of hours of the London session. By the way, this is the London session now. I used to trade London and New York. Now I trade mostly New York, sometimes the pre-market. This is a rare trade that I took, and there's full videos, by the way, on all of these trades explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And today I made an exception. I liked what I was seeing here after this had driven down a couple of times and then broke above. And so I took this in the pre-market, and then when the market finally opened right here, lots of volume, pulling back, and then exploded to the upside to give me the full 2R. Again, drifting down, it's starting to look pretty much the same, aren't they? All the way down, this is the twilight zone, some grinding action, and then coming back in with a little bit of volume. Here's the opposite color candle, having dipped through the zone, perhaps got some liquidity, which I do believe is the case, and then break above, take the trade, and boom. Right? How about this one? Now here's some shorts. We were looking at longs only. Again, rallying all the way through London into the opening candle of New York. A doji style candle having broken above this resistance zone, break below, took the trade, slightly late entry there, and that's fine. As you can see here, could have taken a little bit earlier, but it doesn't matter. And then continued down for the big win. This goes back to September, a big, strong rally through the New York session, pardon me guys, after tapping down here below after London, right? This is the first candle of New York, drove down, broke back up, felt like it was going to be a bullish day, and sure enough it was. Got a bit of news in through here, and that dipped down again, but it continued. These are half hour, right? So, there's 2 hours right there, just these 4 candles alone, and then made a tiny little bit of a higher high, and then immediately rejected and reversing down, break below, and took this one all the way back down. Again, driving up, starting to look the same, isn't it? Now this gets into the twilight zone. Why didn't I take this break below this candle? Because we were still in the twilight zone. I typically don't trade during this period because this is the kind of action we see, and there's all kinds of information and videos on the twilight zone in my Telegram group and beyond. I talk about it almost every day in my group, and I warn the group to go for a workout, go for a walk, but avoid trading during the twilight zone unless there's some very compelling price action. I sometimes do, but I usually don't. I waited for volume to come back in. Prices did try to rally, broke. On the candle flipping itself, I took the entry here. You can see it right here, flipping itself and then coming down for the big win. Of course, prices went a lot lower. I think eventually completing this entire zone, but that's neither here nor there. This is a slightly different example here, guys. This is in London into the pre-market, big bullish candle, and then on the open of New York, and this was very telling when prices continued to rally, very excited about continuing that move, and then failed. Flipped back over, coming back down. I let this candle close an entire half hour, a little bit of a pop-up, flipped down below, and took this thing for a nice 2R win on that one. How about this one? Again, grinding all the way up throughout the London session. This is one of those rare pre-market trades again. Took this one here, and I forget the exact reason that I took this one. It's in the video. there was some other stuff happening on the Three Sisters, and then this one felt like it was going to continue, but it's the break below the prior candle, obviously, and then continued, as you can see. Another example here, guys. So again, rallying all the way through. This is the New York session, right? So New York, very bullish. Got a little bit of a break during the twilight zone. There's that range boundedness, sloppy sideways action. Don't like to trade during this session. Then 1 o'clock hit. Volume came flying back in, drove up higher. I stayed out of the market at that point and then tapped the zone. The next candle still felt bullish because it was very strong white, but nope, got rejected. And then the moment the new candle began and then broke below, took this one for the win. But sometimes these trades don't work. They work often, but certainly not always. Here's some examples. Prices drifting down all the way through London. First bullish candle of the New York session. I waited for the first 10 minutes, as I often do. Longer than 10 minutes, of course. As you can see, this is around around 10 o'clock or so, just before 10 o'clock. Here's when I entered. 9:30 is the open, of course. And then try to take this break above. These candles don't have a lot of conviction, so there's no wonder that this one didn't work out, but it didn't. The bottom line is that there just wasn't enough juice to follow through, and this market wanted to continue lower, eventually broke the prior day's low, and then was a bearish continuation. So that's one that didn't even hit 1R. How about this one? Kind of meandering price action here through, or I should say, when I say meandering, it was a blue candle, a white candle, a white candle, a blue candle, a white candle, a blue candle, a white candle, kind of oscillating back and forth between blue and white. So the move was bullish, but the inside of each of these 30-minute candles, narrow ranges and kind of indecisive. But then when prices pierced higher and then turned bearish, I waited for the break on the open, took this thing down, did not finish it off here, as you can see very clearly, and that one did not work out. It's another one, zone reversal. So here we are in the a sideways grinding New York session. Very lackluster and sloppy, but then a nice drive down, piercing into the zone, a bullish candle, so the opposite color candle, break above, but there wasn't enough juice there either. Eventually the daily broke the prior candle and prices came back. Now the 1R trader exited this trade with full profitability, but if you were shooting for 1.5 or 2R, you may have locked in a break even here, or you may have taken a full loss on this one, depending on how you trade it. So there you go, guys. Those are just some examples of some losers as well, or some failures when the signal doesn't necessarily lead to a clean and strong follow through. But for the most part, I think you will find, if you do it right, that most of these trades will in fact at least get you a 1R, 1.5R, or 2R profit. Now, this is not everything. As many of you know, I also watch another grid. This is my main trading grid with a daily up in the top left, a 30-minute in the bottom left, and a 1, 2, or 3-minute chart on the right-hand side. But I also watch something called the Three Sisters. It's 3 charts side by side, the NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow, and I'm looking for things like synchronicity, divergence, relative strength, relative weakness, all of these types of things to either confirm or negate what I'm seeing here on the trading grid, this main trading grid where I actually trade from. The Three Sisters are secondary, but they're a critical piece of the puzzle as well. But I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you for joining me. A little bit on mastering zone reversals. I hope that clears things up for those who have questions on this particular trade setup. Take care, guys. Have an amazing day. We'll talk soon.